Hi guys, this is Breaker, and I'm going to go ahead and cast a game between what appears to be Tydrokos in the lower right hand corner. Yes, spawning as our red toss, and in the upper left hand corner, our blue toss known as Flow. Now, I'm a little bit curious, could this be Quantic Flow? I don't know, I don't think so, because that Flow is only spelled F-L-O, to the best of my knowledge, at least that's the way I saw it on Twitter. And I'm not entirely sure what race she plays, so I'm just going to refer to Flo from here on out as he. So I apologize, guys, if I make any mistakes. Just kind of bear with me. And I'm just going to try and tell this story as it goes. I'm not even going to try and predict what play we're going to see from either player. But I will say that the PvP meta is actually in Heart of the Storm, it's either unpredictable. I see a large number of Protosses opening with, basically sky builds, more or less. Like they'll usually tack on a Stargate and then add on 3 more gateways, basically because of the additional strength that Void Rays have versus Stalkers. Of course, Stalkers being armored in the prismatic alignment being activated whenever a Protoss so chooses, kind of really. It really makes a difference. It just smashes everything from Protoss, or from everything anti-air from Protoss except for Sentries in the early game. But of course, Sentries are actually quite light units, rather weak, very difficult to keep alive. Kind of like an ordinary goldfish. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's an expensive unit. It's a very delicate unit, gas-wise. 100 gas. To make one, and I'm not sure how many minerals. Is it 50? I can check up on that later. Alright, so both players just on 1 gas right now, and both players just going for their cybernetics cores right now, and Flo's going to go ahead and send in a probe to scout, but Tydro looks relatively confident. He's not going to send out his own probe to scout, and at least not at this moment. He goes ahead and takes his second gas, and so does Flo in this process, but of course, Tydrokos' own gas is a few seconds ahead. And the question is, once the cybernetics cores finish, what kind of tech are we going to see get tacked on? By the way, I like that move by Tydro. He just shut that probe down, and he's actually kind of up 1 worker, but it did cost him to take that worker down. Each probe can mine 40 minerals per second, so with the number of probes that he pulled there, it looked like 5 to 6. It costed him about 30 to 40 minerals. It looks like we have a pylon going down here. Well, I don't know why I pointed that out. Typically because this is the furthest point back to hide any tech. This is kind of a habit that I see Tydro doing a lot, and I actually admire it quite a bit myself. Let's just kind of wait and see where things go from here. Pylon going down here for Flow. Interesting. I never looked at it from this perspective before, but I'm thinking, just maybe, I wish I could see the power field of this thing, but I can't. But it looks like we got 2 Stalkers out on the map for Flow. Interesting choice. We're going to be able to take down any primary Stalker that comes their way. So of course Tydro's just going to pull his back immediately, and there's a second Stalker going back. And it looks like this is a new meta that I haven't quite caught on to just yet. Back in the Wings of Liberty days, if I'm not mistaken. And here's a Stargate from Flo, by the way. And a Robo from Tydro, I like that. But back in the Wings of Liberty days, the meta was basically cranking out a single Zealot and a single Stalker, and then using those to scout your opponent or put on some pressure. And I like this move a lot by Tydro. He's actually kind of gearing up for the mid to late game. But Flo already getting the Stargate out. Question is, what is the first unit that gets cranked out? Phoenixes. Interesting choice. This looks like a classic Wings of Liberty style opener. I will say that Phoenix Stalker is actually a very powerful unit composition versus other Protosses, but rather I'm thinking to an extent, back when I was lower level, Platinum myself. I did run across it as a Zerg player. And I don't see any kind of an expo coming from Flo just yet, but speaking of, it looks like he is opting to get it right now. Sort of. Maybe. What is the probe doing right here? This is a little confusing. Well, we do have the first Phoenix going in and seeing just what's up. That one, it looks like is gonna be, come on, you gotta make that as valuable as possible, bro. Alright, well, kind of just hovering around towards the edge of the main. And we do have a hallucinated Phoenix coming from Tydro. Kind of interesting, I think. And now Flo basically knows that if he was paying attention to his Phoenix, that was just a hallucination. That is actually quite critical scouting info that Tydro will not have on his opponent, unfortunately. So let's check this out. He doesn't know about the natural, but of course the observer. He does now. Sneaky, sneaky. Tydro. I'm just wondering, why exactly did he send that Phoenix out? I'm trying to think, what are the possible reasons? Perhaps fooling his opponent into thinking that he's going to go into a Stargate opener, but of course that's, I think that's kind of a long shot considering the Phoenix actually flew over the Robo Bay. And there's an Oracle in the natural harassing the mineral line, and that's actually quite a few workers lost at present. That's 5, yeah. And Tydro, still 1 worker ahead. Not too terribly grievous losses, but of course, you want to, when you're ahead of your opponent, you want to be as far ahead as humanly possible. And it looks like maybe we're going to see Tydro come up with a Blink Stalker follow-up. Not entirely sure of this myself. The Oracle and the Phoenix waiting right there, and both players kind of reluctant to put down the Forge at this stage in the game, of course. What is this, Tydro? You and your DTs. Come on, just once I want to see you do some, I want to say GSL-style Blink Stalker micro. And here's the main force of Flo. Looks like she's not, or Jesus Christ. He is not opting, well, I don't know, it's hard to say really. He's following this up with Void Rays. And, ooh, sorry about that. Looks like the Oracle tried to fly back into the mineral line, and Tydro just kind of shoot it away. Shoo, Stalker, don't bother me. And the Observer's coming back in and sees everything that's going down here. Tydro sees a Twilight Council. He wants to kind of make sure there's no Dark Shrine going down hidden somewhere. I would probably fly this over the mineral line just in case to catch on to, or maybe see if there's any pylons behind that I didn't catch on to. But, I like this move by Tydro a lot. Some players just don't scout that far back, and Tydro is no exception to that rule. Hallucinated Phoenix coming in this time for Flo. Really wants to get a scout out on his opponent and figure out just what's going on. Both players really playing that Cold War battle, if you will. Yeah, sending scouter planes at each other, shooting them down whenever they get too close to their own territory. And now DTs are coming out for Tydro. Yes. Kind of a hidden-ish pylon here. It looks like this is going to be his token expo. But that is a lot of DTs that are going in, and they're going to have to be split up extremely well, especially with the Oracle here. Basically taking the role of, oh my god, I was a little worried that he was going to use Envision on this Oracle. And if he so opted to, he could actually use it to kill the Observer that's right there. And it looks like Tydro is pulling back for some reason. He knows that the Oracle is right there, and he doesn't want these DTs to go to waste. And he also sees, hello, what's going on here? What else does he see? I'm sorry, was there something that I missed here? I could have sworn for a minute, I thought maybe, just maybe. These Stalkers are pulling back into a defensive position. We do have cannons going down now in the mineral line. Perfectly acceptable. No sense in being too cautious. And they only cost minerals, so not really taking away from too terribly critical units. Your minerals are much, much more capable of overlapping than say your gas, but this is more DTs being tacked on. I'm wondering if maybe he's just trying to hide his composition, but when Flo sees this, he's going to think something's not right here, because like even with, if he doesn't have detection, he's going to think something's not right here, because there's something that my opponent is putting all his money on, and I kind of appreciate this choice third from Flo, to be quite honest. A little more defensive, I think, in PvP. much more viable. And this is a lot of DTs. How many do we have right now? 9 altogether? 3 of them being morphed into Archons. I was about to say, if it was just a plain straight up mass DT rush into the main, it would probably not work out all that well. I just wanted to double check there and make sure I didn't miss any action that was going down. One thing that I never do with replays, because I don't want to ruin the sense of surprise for me and for you guys, is that I never preview them. And basically Flo sees all of these Archons. But here we go. Zealot's kind of dashing forward, taking the brunt of the damage, everything here. And that is a lot of Archons. Prismatic Alignment is not going to help against these. But if the Void Rays can just target down the Stalkers, that might be a different story. It looks like they're not doing that. They're actually preoccupied with one Archon that was in front. Now they're redirecting fire at some of these Stalkers, and it's just not working out. Tydrokos basically dancing his Archons around these forces from Flo, and now Flo's moving back into defensive position. I think we might see Flo hold this. Just has to be extremely careful. The third is not mining anything for Flo right now. This is actually the most critical part of the game because we have Tydrokos. In a mirror matchup, the most important thing is your income. More so than, say, I want to say any other matchup, because you have to stay ahead of your opponent in every aspect. Upgrades, if you're doing the same exact unit composition, this is definitely true. And the Zealots are kind of coming in here trying to do some damage. There were more DTs warping in, but they were just a morph into Archons. And it looks like we have Tydro trying to A-move into this army, and it looks like he's going to be able to Raffle Stomp it. There's more Void Rays coming out, but Void Rays are basically useless versus Archons if they ever get within attacking range of them. It looks like this is the last Void Ray. It's not being microed back. Prismatic Alignment being used, but Prismatic Alignment doesn't do anything against Archons because they're not armored. They're just psionic and massive. Alright, and there it was. Flo is defeated. Flo has left the game. If you guys liked what you saw here, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button. That would be the glowing red button on the right side of the screen here. But this is just one of those nice treats that I get from Tydrokos because, well, honestly, I don't know, I'm getting a little sick of casting Zerg. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Breaker. I'll see you guys next time.